What's good, everybody? Indrid here, bringing you the guide for my least played character, so keep that in mind, Bakko. Alright guys, so Bakko is one of my least played characters. I didn't play Vanguard much in BLC, so take this one with a grain of salt, but I think he's a pretty straightforward character. I also think he is super boring. So that is why he's one of my least played characters, not necessarily because I don't fully understand his kit, but I just think he's really boring. And we'll talk about and get into why I think he's really boring. So first off, his M1, you hit things in the face and you gain weapon charges. And there's nothing too crazy or special about his M1 other than the fact that you gain a little bit of weapon charges. And the main reason you get weapon charges are for his Blood Axe, which is on the M2. So the weapon charges you see go away. The M2 did almost 26 damage. It has a really low cooldown. So spam Areno with your Blood Axes. As you can see with none, it only does 14, but that's okay. Keep spamming it. That is a big part of his kit, is to spam the crap out of his Blood Axes and wait for good opportunities to come in. So Bakko is pretty versatile. He's played a lot by a guy by the name of Finlev, and Finlev does awesome with him. And so don't let this guide make you think, oh, he's not real playable at the high tier. He's actually quite playable at the high tier. Sorry, I digress, so let's continue. So we got Valiant Leap, which is on his space. And you leap to an area, you do a little bit of damage, but you also pull people into you a little bit, and it stops channeling skills, it stops casting. So like if somebody's casting and you jump in and you bump them like that, they will stop casting. It pulls them to you and gives them a little bit of snare and does a bit of damage. Next you have the Bulwark, which is a shield that goes in front of you by about 180 degrees, so you can be hit in the back, and it stuns any melee attack that hits you, and it ends up repelling any projectile that hits you, or that hits it rather, not that hits you. So as you can see, it comes up and it repels it right back. It becomes your projectile and it hits them. Something to keep in mind though when playing him is that if you have a really good player, what they might do is when your Bulwark is up, let's take a Shifu for example. Shifu's going to throw his spear into you and then quickly hit his counter, so that way the spear comes, his own spear hits his counter, and then his counter triggers behind you and there's nothing you can do about it. So you want to keep in mind on really good players that they might do that to you, okay? And so anyone that has a counter, Varesh, etc., that has a ranged attack could do this to you. Keep that in mind. And so this is a really good protection skill. You move a little bit slower, I think, when you're using it, but not by much. And next is going to be E. I think it's called Shield Slam? Shield Dash. Okay, Shield Dash, which you move forward, you hit, and I actually don't think it does damage unless you hit them into the wall. Yeah, so if you hit them into the wall, it does 16 damage. So this is actually a really key part of his kit, especially once you start speccing into it through his Battlerites. And it ends up being a big part of his damage and combo setups, which we'll get into in a little bit. So next is something Shout. What is it? War Shout, yeah. So it's an AoE, and it grants a shield for 40 health, a 40 health shield, which is pretty significant. So that is something that you're actually going to want to use quite a bit with him, which is surprising because he is very defensive. He's got his dash, his leap, his Bulwark are all ways for him to avoid damage, but you still are going to need to use your Shout, especially to help your teammates, but to help yourself. His EX skills, to be honest, I rarely use his EX skills just because, like I said, I don't play him a lot, so I'm not super comfortable on him, but they are quite good. So the first one is going to be on his space, which he leaps in, and you see it goes quite a bit faster, and when he lands, he incapacitates. So that's actually pretty nice. Being able to have an incapacitate is really good, but to be honest, I don't even think Finlev uses it that much. The one that I see him use a bit more is the EXE, which this one might be called Shield Slam. Yeah, that one's called Shield Slam. And as you go in, you're going to hit, and you see you push them away instead of going with them. So normally what you'll see is I'm going to hit them and I'm going to pull them. And with the shield, wow, he bugged out. Do you guys see that? I don't know how he bugged out. Anyways, so when you use Shield Slam, it goes boom, it hits, it pushes, and it always does the damage. So that's the other benefit of using Shield Slam, is that you will always do the damage. However, in my opinion, I think it's best when you can. There are opportunities to use Shield Slam. Save your energy for your ultimate and for your shout, because your shout's really good. So here's his ultimate. His ultimate grabs you, and it pulls you very far, either into a wall or to a person, basically like whatever you hit next, and then it does an AoE damage. So it does initial damage, then AoE damage. So as you see, comes in, hit that guy, does crazy damage. Let's look at how much damage it actually does. It does 35 and then 25 AoE. So that's 60 damage, which is really, really amazing. And it does a stun. So this is where things get out of control with him. And I can't actually show it because anything will die with this combo. But you can do it one of two ways. And I don't think either of them matter. So what you try to do is you always want to try to be putting people into walls. That's like a big part of his kit. And so actually, let me go to Battlerites first, because of how much it doesn't change him a lot, but some of the Battlerites are needed for when you talk about. So with the Battlerites, you're going to have a Fading Snare on his M2. I see people get that one a lot when they start out. It sounds good in practice, and it is somewhat decent, but I don't think it's the best. Shield Bash sounds like it just adds so much because you can recast the shield. It puts a weaken. I do think weaken's really, really great, and it does a little bit of damage. However, because of the way he ends up playing out, I think it's much better to get the Raging Ram, which reduces the cooldown of Shield Dash and increases the distance in which it is. And the reason you're going to get this one is specifically because the next one, I just think it's the best to get that the Shield Dash inflicts a 0.5 second stun when slamming into a wall. So having a stun, and that is interesting. Why does it say that it inflicts a 0.5 second stun, and then it says incapacitate target is unable to move or use abilities for 0.5 seconds? It should say stun there. Anyways, so one of those should say stun, one of those should say incapacitate. I just realized that. So anyways, devs, if you see that, somebody fix that. So the reason you're going to have increased dash, you're going to then have a stun on it when they hit a wall. So it's going to be easier to hit them into a wall, which is going to do damage. And so that's important because when we start talking about his combo, one of his big combos later. So next is I think there's two that are pretty good here. I think mobile defense is the worst. I wouldn't really worry about that. Valiant Leap can be good if you find that your teammate is taking a lot of pressure. You then leap to them and you're going to give them some damage reduction for a while, which can be really, really good. The next one, though, which it's actually kind of similar, is you're giving them a shield. And what this is going to do is that your auto attacks go faster and your M2s go faster, which it's actually significantly faster. So it's going to increase your DPS a lot, and it's going to help protect you and your teammate. I think Rampage is the best. So next, the Warhex hits reduce the cooldown of Bulwark. I think depending upon your matchup, that might be worth it, like against a Jade/Rukan where you want to have Bulwark up a lot. Blood Axe cooldown is reduced by 1 second if the axe hits. I think the cooldown's already low enough, it's not super needed. And then Inspiration, you have additional energy and you gain additional energy. I actually think that one's really good because you're going to be using Rampage a lot and your ultimate is really, really strong. Next, the ultimate, so Heroic Charge grants a shield absorbing 30 damage, or the Heroic Charge stun duration increased by 0.75 seconds. So if you're having a hard time getting the combo to work, I would get the Mammoth Stomp. But otherwise, I would say go ahead and get the shield for survivability, and you're going to need to figure out which one you are for that. And so let me show you the combo. We're going to transition to combos here, and this is basically the big setup for him. Again, I can't do this to anybody because it's going to kill all of the orb and everything in here. So you need to start with one or two of these. So I'm going to show you both ways. So if you start with your ultimate, you're going to ult, you're going to put them into the wall. You're going to immediately E them into the wall, doing additional damage and stunning them briefly, and then immediately you're going to Blood Axe them. So what that ends up being is like 60 damage plus 16 damage, which is 76, plus a Blood Axe, which is an additional 14. So that's like almost 100 damage that you can do immediately. So again, that version is F into E into M2. The other version is, and I think this one is slightly inferior, is E into F into M2. If you can lead with your F, I think that's the best way to do it. And leading with your ultimate, you're gonna want to make sure they don't have an escape. And the other good thing about leading with your ultimate is look at how far away I can be, and I'm going to put them into the wall. You see, I mean, it's like basically the whole map here. So like even if we're fighting in the middle, I can definitely hit that guy all the way over there into it, right? So that's what makes leading with your ultimate good, is it gives you a lot more range. And then you're going to be able to hit them in the wall, like I said, and then M2 them right away. That is your bread and butter. Otherwise, the basic way that you're going to play him is you're going to play pretty passive, throw out a lot of blood hooks. Anytime somebody basically gets close to a wall, bash them, and then, or I'm sorry, E them, putting them into the wall, doing damage, and then you're going to hit them with a blood hook immediately after, and then you're going to kind of play passive again and be close to your teammate. You're going to want to try to use your bulwark in a way that you're protecting some big damage or any type of high pressure. Often you're going to, anytime someone spaces on you, you can kind of expect that they're going to try to combo you really quick, so drop your bulwark. And he turns decent with this bulwark up, where some other characters turn really slow, but it's still faster to turn before you bulwark if at all possible. So play pretty passive with him, and that's why I think he's so boring, to be honest. Is you're just going to sit, you're going to spam M2s, you're going to wait for opportunities, you're going to use your space to avoid damage because you have invulnerability frames, and you're going to then also put counter pressure on people with your space. So maybe they space onto your teammate, you're going to space in, hit them, E them, M2 them. Any chance you can to E them into a wall and M2 them, that's what you got to do. So that is really the nuts and bolts of Bakko. If you can learn those things, you're going to see yourself winning way more games with Bakko. And don't forget to use your R when you can to put out more damage. Because as you can see, look at how much faster. So that's his normal attack speed. Drop my R. Man, it's so fast. So you're going to put out more damage than too. Okay, so I want to show you a little bit of what I talked about in the tutorial, and hopefully this little clip with me talking will help you out in the future. So it's the second round, and we're going to be meeting in the middle per usual. So I do get a little aggressive here, and a little too aggressive. I get lucky not to get hit and start doing M2 spam. Just like I talked about before, you see I get a good wall slam and continue to spam those M2s as soon as they're off cooldown. I try to position myself in a way where I successfully bulwark a high damage spell back and continue to throw those M2s. I just missed hitting them into the wall, use my shield, and gonna get a little protection and continue that M2 spam. Try to put some pressure on, and you see I fall back now with the bulwark, using it to protect myself, continuing the M2 spam. I just miss hitting him into the wall again, continue throwing out M2s. You're going to see that is quite the theme here. Use my shield, my R, to shield my teammate as he gets the first kill. Get a good wall slam, followed up with some more M2s. Bulwark there to protect my teammate. However, the ultimate is going to get the kill on him. I throw my M2, try to use the combo, but I fail it just a little bit, doing it a little bit slow. Finally hit a couple M2s, miss my bulwark. I didn't turn in time, so make sure to turn first. Get a couple attacks there to power up my M2 to get the final blow. And that is hopefully how you will be playing Bakko in the future, meaning winning lots of games. So I hope this guide helps, guys. Like, I know this is like super simple. This is probably one of my shortest guides, to be honest. And because Bakko is super straightforward, he's got two bread and butter combos. And again, I think he's kind of boring. So you're able to, like, his gameplay is pretty standard. So I hope that helps, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for joining the most positive place in gaming. Make sure to leave a comment, leave a like, and make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for all your support. We just broke 1,000 subs. I can't believe it, and hopefully we'll get to 2,000 here soon. Thank you so much, everybody. Peace.